One of my favorite series on this channel is talking about third-party games for the Nintendo Switch, because I love the Nintendo Switch. I mean, I think it's very obvious that I love the Nintendo Switch, especially if you look at the channel. I mean, not to flex, but we have so many Nintendo Switch videos on the channel. But it's time that we do yet another video in the top 10 best third-party Nintendo Switch games of all time for the Nintendo Switch. I absolutely love the fact that you guys love these videos to death because every single one of them has performed like crazy. The first video in this series is almost my top video on this channel, and it really makes me happy because discussing third-party games, honestly, to me, makes the Nintendo Switch such a cool concept to talk about because there's good ports, bad ports, mixed ports. There's a lot of cool discussions with the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is one of my favorite systems of all time, probably my favorite of all time, to be completely honest. And I think part of that reason is these third-party games. Not only are the first-party games great on the Nintendo Switch, but third-party has been something that Nintendo has always struggled with their consoles. And I think with the Switch, it's got their best third-party lineup yet out of any Nintendo system. Now, without further ado, let's get into this top 10 list because we got some bangers. We have a lot of bangers, actually. We've had some of our best third-party games come out for the Nintendo Switch, I would say, since the last video that we did, which I think it was like either 6 or 7 months when we did that video. By the way, this is what it looks like. Go check that video out. Check all the other videos that we've done when it comes to this top 10 series because we've done a lot of top 10s just for the Switch, but also third-party games. Let's get into number 10. So, going into number 10, we have something that I'm very surprised that I never talked about on this channel when it comes to these videos. I don't know why I didn't talk about it because this is actually a pretty impressive Switch port for multiple reasons, but there is some issues with that. But coming in number 10 is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. Now, this game is a game that I'll never forget when it got announced at the Nintendo Direct. I believe it was September 2017, if I remember exactly, that Bethesda came on the Nintendo Direct out of nowhere to announce Wolfenstein 2 and Doom 2016 was coming into the Nintendo Switch. I'll never forget that everybody was like, what? Doom 2016? That's like super mature. How are they going to get that game on the Switch? And then Wolfenstein 2, a game that was coming to current gen consoles at the time, that year, for it to come out on the Nintendo Switch, everyone was mind blown because it showed that the Switch can handle these major AAA third-party games. Obviously, it took almost a whole year later for the game to come out than it should have, but Panic Button, the same team that's done some of the best third-party ports for the Nintendo Switch, developed this, and they did such a spectacular job. Now, there's places in the game that look really rough. However, you gotta consider that you're playing a Switch version, and you also have to do the updates for this game if you want it to run good, look good, all of that good stuff. But I was very impressed for the fact that they were able to get this game on the Nintendo Switch. There's some issues that I have with this version of the game though, and you'll already see it with the physical copy. A micro SD card is required for this game. This game, I believe, I don't remember how many gigabytes it took on my Switch, but I know I had to remove this off my Nintendo Switch because it took too much storage. I think this honestly might have taken more than Mortal Kombat 11, which Mortal Kombat 11 takes a lot of storage. So Wolfenstein, I remember taking, I think, well over 40. So that's my one con with this version of the game because I never got the chance to complete it just because it took up too much space. But this is a game well worth it because you can also get the physical copy of this game for less than 20 bucks. So Wolfenstein 2, if you played the first Wolfenstein, this is a game that should be added to your third-party Switch list. Coming in number 9 is probably one of the most unexpected games to ever come out in general for all consoles, and that is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. Now, if you're me, you've heard how great these old classics were back in the day when it comes to the Turtle games. The Turtle games have probably been some of the most talked about games when it comes to arcades and consoles. You got Turtles in Time, and then you got the Turtles arcade games that are always talked about. And you know, I wanted to talk about Shredder's Revenge in this video, however, I like doing these videos when I own a physical copy, so you'll probably see Shredder's Revenge in the next top 10 video when it comes to third-party games. But we also had the Cowabunga collection come out this year, and it's crazy. You have so many Turtle games all in one collection. You got the first, I don't even remember how many, I think it's like 8 games in here, all in one collection, and you can switch from the console versions into the arcade versions from my understanding. And online multiplayer, all for $40, which by the way, this game goes on sale very frequently. I just saw it on Black Friday for $20. So the fact that you can get all of this $20 to $40, depending how long you wait, this is well worth the money, especially if you have friends over, because you got that co-op, because you know Turtles is known for the co-op and the online, or it's not known for online, it has online play added onto here. And one of the cool things about this is you can change the format how you play. You can do classic style, you can do widescreen. There's a lot of different ways of playing these games. This game is very special towards those Turtle fans that played these classics as a kid. It is very much tailored towards them and tailored towards a new audience. Definitely pick this one up. Coming in number 8 is a game that I wish I would have had more time to play, but I can tell right off the bat that this game is very colorful, runs amazing for the Switch, and just overall a fun time. That game is no other than Pac-Man World Repack. This is also another game that I feel like, again, came out of nowhere. You know, obviously Pac-Man World on the PlayStation 1 is a game that a lot of people talked about back in the day, and I never got a chance to play that one. I played, I believe it was Pac-Man World 2 on the PlayStation 2, I believe is what I played. And that was a fun game. I don't know if down the road they're going to put all the Pac-Man World games on the Switch, but that would be really cool. I think this game runs amazing for the Switch. It runs at a locked 30 if I do remember correctly, but the game is so colorful. I don't know how to describe it, but when I played this on the Switch OLED screen, the colors of Pac-Man and all the characters with the combination of the OLED just looks so gorgeous. This game looks beautiful, and again, another cheap game. Without it being on sale, it is a $30 game. When it's on sale, it's $20, and it is honestly very surprising that they gave this game at such a low price, because Bandai Namco could have easily got $40, $50 out of this game, and people would have bought it. So this is one to be looking out for the Switch collection. Definitely pick this one up if you do not own it already. Coming in number 7 is honestly a game series that is very special to me because I played these ones in the arcade. I haven't played all of them, but the fact that this came to the Switch, again, another game that got announced last year that was just like, wow, they're remaking that? That game is no other than the House of the Dead. Now, this game, it's awesome. I think the remake is great. I think a lot of people didn't like the remake. I think a lot of the die-hard fans did not like it, but I think, me personally, I enjoyed it very much. I can't wait, I cannot wait when hopefully they remake the rest of the series. House of the Dead 2 is the one that's very special to me because I played that one. I believe that's the one that I played with my friend Nathan at the arcades a lot. We actually beat it, and I think we got the top score at our local bowling alley. We played that game to death. That game was super fun. I really hope they can bring that one over to the Switch soon because that's going to be super fun. And again, another situation where it's a classic, remade, ready to play with other people, and also another cheap game. But one of the things that I like about doing the series so much is I'm able to show you guys good games that go on sale very frequently. And a lot of you guys talk about how I'm able to save you guys so much money. So again, while this is not a $60 game, it's still a great game. It doesn't have to be $60 for it to be a good game, guys. I believe House of the Dead is a $30 game. The physical copy might, actually, digitally it's $25, physically it's $40. It's ridiculous that the physical copy is more expensive, but it is well worth it. The game looks amazing on the Switch. I don't know if it's exclusive to the Switch. It might be like a 1-year exclusive to Switch, because there's no way that they made this a Switch exclusive. But this game looks beautiful, plays like the classic version. You have multiple different modes that can inspire the classic. You got difficulties. There's so much cool stuff with the House of Dead. This is one to definitely pick up for the Nintendo Switch. I feel like I have to put a game from this series on this list, considering there are so many games from this series onto the Nintendo Switch. However, all of them kind of sucked. Well, the new game was actually really good. I just was not a fan of the Switch version. But what is that game that you're talking about? I'm talking about the Sonic series. Coming in number 6 is Sonic Mania. Now, Sonic Mania is absolutely an amazing 2D Sonic game. It is made by the fans, quite literally. It is made by the fans. I don't even know how Sega was just like, yeah, we're gonna hire you guys to make a Sonic game. It was a 2D Sonic game, absolutely amazing. This is a game that goes on the eShop for like $3 very frequently. The physical copy is like $20, so you would save money buying it digitally, but I love physical copies, so I'm always gonna buy a physical copy of a game if it's out there. However, Sonic Mania is well worth your time and the money, as it's just such a fantastic game, and in my opinion, the only good Sonic game on the Nintendo Switch. I think Sonic Frontiers is a great game. I just was not a fan of the Switch version, and I think we needed some Sonic in our lives in the series because we've never talked about a Sonic game on this channel. Sonic Mania, however, is well worth your time and is number 6 on the list. Number 5, I could be hypocritical here since I just told you that I was not a fan of the Sonic Frontiers Switch port. And I don't know if people are going to be the biggest fans of this Switch port. However, I enjoyed my time with it, and I don't think that the Nintendo Switch is really at fault when it comes to this particular game. And we're going to go into why. But coming in number 5 is the Life is Strange collection. Now, this is a game that came out a few months ago on the Nintendo Switch, and this is one series that I was hoping comes to the Switch, and we got some of those games this year onto the Nintendo Switch. And this collection came physically, which, by the way, this is the only platform, the Nintendo Switch, to only get a physical copy of the series when it comes to this collection. I was very surprised by that. But I think that graphically, the Switch version doesn't look the greatest because they are going with the remastered versions that came out last year. Or actually, no, they came out earlier this year. However, the remastered versions never looked great on current-gen consoles. And there was a lot of complaints about that. So I think literally the team that did this literally just took the remastered collection, throw it on the Switch, like they took a PS5 version of the game, throw it on the Switch, didn't optimize it or anything like that. Because some of the models look very weird, but again, I think part of it is because it's the remastered version. The remastered engine that they throw it on, a lot of these models looked very weird on the current gen consoles. So I'm not blaming it on the Switch when it comes to that. The storyline of Life is Strange is absolutely amazing, and it's something that I will never forget. Absolutely one of the craziest games that I have ever played. And if you've not played Life is Strange yet, you need to buy this because surprisingly, this was $40. I've not seen it go on sale yet because it is a newer release, but I'm surprised that they launched this for $40 because I'm pretty sure it was $50 on the PS5, Series X, all those guys when it came out in February. So still an amazing game, all in one cartridge except Before the Storm. I haven't played Before the Storm yet. Buy it. Buy it. Coming in number 4 is again another game that I'm surprised I didn't talk about. Like I didn't think about this being a third-party game, but this is a third-party game. That game is no other than Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Now, this game is very crazy to me because Ultimate Alliance, the first one, is one of the very first games that I ever played that I really grew an attachment to when it comes to video games in general. If it wasn't for Ultimate Alliance, I probably would not be as big of a nerd as I am now. As you can see, I'm a big Marvel fan. We got some of that in the background while being a Nintendo fan, and I think Ultimate Alliance is a big part of my life that made me the person that I am today. So when Ultimate Alliance 3 just got announced out of nowhere at the Game Awards, for it to be also a Nintendo Switch exclusive out of nowhere, I was absolutely mind blown because it was my two favorite things put together basically. And Ultimate Alliance 3 is amazing because it has every current up-to-date roster of all the big Marvel heroes, like X-Men and Fantastic Four is in this. I could not believe it because at the time we had not seen X-Men and Fantastic Four in the MCU yet, and how Marvel was, they don't do anything unless it's in the MCU when it comes to their comics and video games. and they put the X-Men and Fantastic Four in there, and it was awesome. It was the first time done in years where all of the special Marvel characters, to me, were in one game. All the Spider-Man characters, all the X-Men characters, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Fantastic Four, all of them were together in one game. It felt like the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate of the Marvel Universe because there was such an amazing roster here, and the game runs amazing for the Nintendo Switch because there's a lot of enemies thrown at you, and I'm surprised how well the game is still running on the Switch with that in mind. And the storyline is very interesting, and just overall the gameplay very similar to the old Ultimate Alliance games. This is definitely paying tribute to those games, and it's just such a special game and well worth the money and time. It is a little bit more of an expensive game because Nintendo did publish it, even though it's a third-party game. So it's hard to find that game on sale. It's pretty much $60 all the time, but it's worth it. Coming in number 3 is also, or honestly, these next 3 games that we're about to talk about are probably all equally the best Nintendo Switch port that I've played. All of them are just amazing. But we gotta talk about each one and why they're great and why, just why. Coming in number 3 is No Man's Sky. This Nintendo Switch port is honestly absolutely mind-blowing. Honestly, the story of No Man's Sky is crazy. Because when this game came out in 2016, I believe is when the game came out, nobody liked No Man's Sky because it was a giant lie, basically. Very similar to what people would say about Cyberpunk 2077. No Man's Sky was not the game that it was supposed to be. It wasn't a glitchy mess or anything, it was just a lot of lies. And despite all the controversy with No Man's Sky, Hello Games still developed No Man's Sky. Today they're still developing it, giving you updates, and it's actually crazy because the game has finally been what it should have been a long time ago. So it is very impressive. This is probably one of the best Nintendo Switch ports because it graphically looks amazing. I don't know how, it runs amazing too. The only problem I would say with the Switch version is there's a lot of shadow issues where the shadows are not moving correctly and they just look very weird. But other than that, this game is very peaceful. It calms me down when I'm stressed out, and it's well worth the $60. It's a new release, so it's going to be $60 for a while, but definitely pick up No Man's Sky because it is one of the best Switch ports I've ever played, and honestly, No Man's Sky is just such a good game. The only complaint I would have is the shadows, and there's no online mode. However, the developers of the game have said if people really want the online mode into the Switch version, they'll do it. They just didn't launch with the online mode because they were not thinking it was going to be successful, is what it sounds like. But this is one of the best Switch ports of all time and well worth your $60. Go pick it up. Coming in number 2 is a game that we actually did a full-on video review because of how amazing this Switch port was, which, by the way, this game was so good that I even called it the best Nintendo Switch port, and then another Switch port came out like 2 weeks after it where it was the best Switch port. It's actually crazy how all 3 of the final 3 games that we're talking about all came out around the same time. It's crazy, but yeah, it just goes to show how well the Switch is now when it comes to developing and how you can get any game on the Switch as long as you put the time and effort to it. But coming in number 2 is Nier Automata, a game that nobody expected to ever come to the Nintendo Switch. It was one of those games that was highly requested to the Nintendo Switch once it came out back in 2017. However, nobody thought it was possible. You know, I think it was exclusive to PlayStation for a few months, and then it came to Xbox, and then people were like, can it come to Switch, please? And then nothing happened, and then here we are. Few years later, it's finally on the Switch, and it launched at $40, which is actually crazy to me. Square Enix could have easily got away with $60 for this game because people would have paid for it. Not to mention how much effort went into this Switch port. Guys, Nier Automata is 1080p, 30 frames per second docked. The game in resolution is better than it is on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. On PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the game is like 920p or something, or 900. And on the Switch, it's 1080p. And in docked mode, 720p locked too. This game runs amazing, looks beautiful. It literally hits every check mark of a Switch port. It honestly does a Switch port way better than anything else before. Like, it's actually crazy. Nier Automata in general is just such a fun game and is well worth your time. It's just crazy to me that this is finally on the Switch, because it was one of those things that if it came to the Switch, everyone was like, yeah, it's gonna run awful, it's just not gonna be a good Switch port. But here we are, it's on the Switch, all in one cartridge, got even the DLC in there, all for $40. And I think on Black Friday it actually went on sale for $30. So it's gonna go on sale every now and then, so it's well worth your money. Go pick it up. It's also a very unique game if you like that Bayonetta gameplay style. I guess that's what you would call it, a hack and slash. It's a very difficult game, in all honesty. Very tough game, but that's kind of what the point of the game was. It's supposed to be a very difficult game. It has an interesting story and a very difficult gameplay. It's a very difficult gameplay. That's the best way to describe it. Go pick it up. $40, well worth it. One of the best Switch ports, maybe the best Switch port. Coming in number 1 is a game that is very special to me because it was probably my most highly requested game to come to the Nintendo Switch. And here we are. It finally comes to the Nintendo Switch and is the best Nintendo Switch port in my opinion. What is that game? It's actually, we did a whole dedicated video on this one too. That game is no other than Persona 5 Royal. This game is absolutely amazing on the Nintendo Switch because this is a 100-hour plus game. If you have a game that is 50 plus hours, you need to do everything in your power to put that game on the Nintendo Switch. I don't care who you are, but nobody has time to play an 100 plus hour game on a PlayStation Xbox. People got jobs. Obviously, teenagers has got a little bit more time than adults, but I have 2 jobs here. I do YouTube and I do an actual full-time 40 plus hour job. I need games on the Switch, that way I can play it on the go whenever I want, in bed, all that good stuff. Persona 5 is the perfect game to be on the Switch, and it doesn't make sense why it took this long for it to come to the Nintendo Switch, but it's here on the Nintendo Switch. It looks amazing, runs amazing, the game in general is amazing. It is well worth the time, the money. It's $60, it's a new release, so it's not gonna go on sale. I don't think it's gonna go on sale, not for the next few months. But if you have the chance to get it, you need to play this game because the game is so special, especially if you don't know any of the spoilers when it comes to this game. This game is very special and honestly one of my favorite games of all time, probably now that I've beaten it. I just need to beat it on the Switch. Even though it's on the Switch now, I still don't have time to play it on the Switch because I gotta play other games to do game videos on, reviews, all that good stuff. It sucks being an adult, but the game's worth it. All these games that we talked about are well worth it, and Persona 5 Royal is the best Nintendo Switch port out there. I'm gonna say it. I mean, honestly, these 3 games right here, these last 3 games that we talked about are probably the best Nintendo Switch ports. They are incredible. Well guys, that's it. We have a lot of games that we talked about today for this bad boy, the Nintendo Switch. I wanna know, are you gonna pick any of these up? Is there a game that you feel like I should have talked about? And before you write it in the comments, maybe you should check our other top 10 videos we've done in the past, because I probably talked about it. We still have so many games to talk about when it comes to the third-party side of the Nintendo Switch that it's crazy. It's a great discussion thing. I think talking about third-party games for Nintendo Switch is a great discussion point. And it's why I love talking about it so much on this channel, because you guys love it. I love talking about it. It's just, I think one of the things that makes the Switch special, and the Nintendo Switch is one of the best systems ever because of all of its games. It has some of the best support from Nintendo and third party in general. So I want to know, are you picking up any of the games that we talked about today? Do you have them already? Do you think that there's something in here that shouldn't be on the list? What should be on the list? Let me know all that in the comments down below. And let me know what your top 10 is. I'm curious. Let's start a discussion in the comments, guys. Let me know what your guys' top 10 is when it comes to third-party Switch games. I have been talking for way too much. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button. Like the video. Check out the Twitch. Check out the Discord server. Check out the Instagram. Check out everything that is in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.